Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. It's your boy, World of Wrestling, here today to discuss about best bets for the Crawford versus Madrimov or Madrimov fight card. And also we're going to discuss about UFC best bets for Abu Dhabi. So we'll go over the UFC best bets. I got 3 of those here for both. So a total of 6. So let's go over the UFC portion of things since that will be taking place first on Saturday. It'll be on at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So they're going to be early. So let's go over that first. And then we'll go over the Crawford Madrimov fight card, I should say. So let's go over the 3 UFC fighters. My 3 UFC fighters, 2 of which are going up against some shitty ass fighters who have really bad records. One is Cedric Dumas versus Dennis Tulin. And Dumas is the person I would take in this fight. On Hard Rock Bet, he is actually a minus 230. He's really good odds for him. So I would definitely go with him in this situation based on the fact that Dennis Tulin is not exactly a great fighter. He's 11-9 currently right now, while Dumas is only 9-2. So he gives you a very high probability of actually pulling out a victory here with this bet. So I would definitely take Dumas against Tulin. And not to mention, Dumas is only 28 years old, while Tulin is 36. So that definitely gives you, as the better, the advantage in the situation, taking Dumas on top of all of that. So that's a huge benefit. So yeah, Dumas would be my very first pick that I would take. He's also, I would say, even possibly a shoe-in for a victory, in my own personal opinion. Unless something goes wrong here, Dumas just makes a terrible mistake in the middle of the fight. That's the only way I see him actually losing this fight. Next up would be Shamil Gazes, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. He's 12-1 currently. And he was actually undefeated. His recent loss is the reason why he suffered an L, but he lost against a top-notch heavyweight. He's kind of like teetering, I believe, in the top 15 or so. His name that he lost to was Rosenstruck. Yeah, I believe he fought in a main event of a UFC fight night show. Give me 1 second to look here. And he's 1-1 in the UFC currently. So yeah, Rosenstruck is actually he's pretty good. He's got an 8-5 record in the UFC, overall a 14-5 record. So that ain't too shabby for him. Fighter wise, I think that was not a bad loss, but still, I mean, you're on a winning streak and then all of a sudden you lose to this guy. I mean, it kind of sucks, but he's facing a guy currently who's 11-6. His name is Dontel Mayes, and Dontel Mayes is not exactly what I would call the best UFC fighter. Let's take a look at his record in the UFC specifically. Screw the rest of his overall record. His record currently in UFC is 4-4. So he's kind of 50-50. Sometimes he'll win, sometimes he'll lose. I think he's going to end up losing this fight to a level of Gazvaz. So I think Shamil Gazvaz or Gazes, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. I'm really bad at pronouncing names, so if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I do apologize. But yeah, Shamil, I think, is a very good, solid pick. He is currently on Hard Rock Bet, I believe, a minus 260. So that again, he's actually a good pick to make um with those kind of odds. Now, granted, the main event, who is the person I'm gonna pick, doesn't have the greatest of odds, but he's a huge favorite. And I'll go over that in just a moment. But let me pull up the actual odds for on Hard Rock Bet for the guy I just threw out there. Uh Gaz. Give me one moment. He's a minus 260 currently. So that's not bad. I actually would take him in this kind of situation. Um, so yeah, I would go with him in that. If you want to bet, I would definitely bet these individually because you never know, something could happen, and you don't want your whole entire bet to go to shit. So I would recommend betting it individually. That's my best recommendation. That's how I always do it. If you guys have been following me on these videos since I started, like I believe it was last month or so, I've always uh, stated to always bet these individually. Do not parlay them. It's not always the best thing to do. As you can tell, my record, it's pretty good. I generally go about 50-50. Sometimes I'll go 2 out of 3. Sometimes I'll hit it perfect. I mean, but I never go below 50% on these picks, which isn't the greatest, but majority of the time I'm usually going about 2 to 3, 3 to 4, or 4 to 4, 4 out of 4, or 3 out of 3. That's generally my my overall record. If you take a look at my videos and um actually take a look at my videos and then go and look at the records of the results of those fights, I generally in most cases win. Some of my picks, even though I say I think they might win, I do give you guys kind of the recommendation to possibly fade them. For example, the UFC 304 event with Leon Edwards. I did mention that I don't know if he's the most confident pick, but I do believe, based on the fact that he was on a good winning streak, he was very dominant in his championship title defenses, and Beal Muhammad, um, I didn't think was going to win, but I gave him enough respect to say, hey, be a little bit cautious about this. And if you really wanted to, and you wanted to pick the underdog, since you do have a shot at winning more money with that, I even recommended a bet on Beal Muhammad in that situation. So I didn't really give you guys bad, you know, recommendation here from last week's UFC event, but it didn't really turn out how I thought it would. I thought Leon Edwards was going to win, but at least I gave you guys the proper suggestion of possibly considering giving a little bit of respect towards Beal Muhammad and maybe betting on his side of things as well. So that was totally up to you on that bet. But the rest of my picks, if you wanted to exclude Leon Edwards, I technically did go 2 out of 3, which isn't too shabby. Um, so I'm pretty satisfied with that, but I would like to start hitting these a little bit better than 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 and having one wrong. I would like to be able to make it where it's perfect and that you guys could actually parlay them without concern. But again, like I said, that's the reason why I don't recommend doing parlays. Parlays are so pain in the ass, and not to mention you lose out on opportunities of at least winning something. You go ahead and you bet a parlay, you're going to guarantee to either win a lot or win nothing. And I don't particularly like that kind of mentality, especially when your odds are stacked up against you already, with you not winning a whole lot of money back while betting on the favorite, because generally most times the favorite does win. Um, and to bet on the underdog is very hard to do too, because it's hard to find the underdog and actually picturing them winning all the time. So trying to find an underdog, at least for me anyway, I'm not exactly a professional sports bettor at this point. I got a long way to go on that, but at least I'm smart enough to realize that the higher the probability is the favorite. So why not just go for the favorite, at least guarantee myself a little bit of a higher chance of winning? So that's pretty much what I do here. But the the last pick that I'm gonna give you guys for the UFC Abu Dhabi event is Umar not Norma Gondev, I think is how you pronounce his name. I'm really bad with pronouncing names. It's Umar Nurmagomedov, Gamadev against Corey Sandhagen. Corey Sandhagen, again, he is definitely someone to respect. He is someone that you may want to bet on, possibly. I wouldn't say don't bet on him. He is an underdog. Currently, right now, Umar is a minus 325 against Corey Sandhagen. And give me 1 minute to give you Corey Sandhagen's actual odds here. He's a plus 240. So Corey Sandhagen is worth the risk of possibly losing, as long as you're not betting too much on him. Because again, like I said, I mean, if you lose, I mean, and you put a lot of money on it, you're going to lose a lot of money. What's the fucking point in doing that? So my attitude is that way you're not getting in any kind of trouble. And all of a sudden I'm offline. Check your connection and try again. Okay, sure. Whatever. Anyway, but yeah, Corey Sandhagen, I would say, is actually a good option to go with if you're wanting to pick an underdog, because he could have a shot at actually winning this fight. But I believe Umar is definitely the guy you're going to want to go with as a favorite. 17-0, has beaten a lot of good, decent opponents, and is under the Habib family tree. So you definitely don't want to go against it. I mean, it is worth the risk of betting on Umar. So yeah, I that's why I believe that would be the best option to go with out of the bets here. But again, like I said, Sandhagen definitely a possible win if he can score a knockout. Sandhagen's a good fighter. I'm not saying that he doesn't have a chance at winning this fight, but I just think with the potential of Umar and his ability to fight and how well he is wrestling wise, he's going to make Corey Sandhagen possibly not able to do what he normally does against his opponents. So that's where I think that plays into the whole situation of whether or not Corey Sandhagen could actually win the fight, is because the fight will be more than likely taken on the ground, taken to the ground, I should say. And that's where it's going to leave Corey Sandhagen with a lot of problems and issues that he's going to have to face. And his ability to get back up after being taken to the ground, I'm not too familiar with. I do follow a lot of MMA fanatics who actually follow the product for a very, very, very long time, for like several years. So me, on the other hand, I've always liked UFC. I've just been more of a casual than anything else. But with sports betting involved, it makes it a lot more entertaining and well worth the investment of actually being a hardcore fan, because of the fact you earn money if you're right about the actual winner of the fight. So why not get involved in it at that point? So that's what made me intrigued about MMA and what made me want to get involved in it. I kind of dabbled in it at times, would follow it for a while, and then kind of just stop following it. But there is so much money to be made. There's also a lot of money to be lost depending on who you're betting on and how much you're willing to throw away. So my personal opinion, Umar is my third pick. I think that is the best bet to make. By the way, guys, if you guys are new to the channel, you can leave comments in the chat. I will definitely read them. I will not leave you guys, sitting there with no ability. That's the kind of the point why I like doing live streams, is for the interaction with my audience. So if you guys are interested in talking and you're here live, go ahead, leave a comment. I'll definitely read it and respond to it. without question. You don't even have to pay for it because I don't have the ability to do super chat yet. So that's that. Anyway, let's get into boxing now. Boxing, their odds are kind of shitty sometimes, but you can bump into something here and there where your odds will be a lot better. Um, and this Crawford fight card has got a lot of promising ability to help you earn some money. Generally in boxing, you want to parlay these because in most cases the favorite does win. The problem is trying to avoid going ahead and having one of those weak links to your parlay and ending up going ahead and making a huge mistake and having your parlay just crash. That's why I don't do I don't do parlays. I don't like them. I did them for a while. I was good with prize picks, but for some strange reason, when it comes down to actually doing parlays with actual sports books, seems a little bit more difficult than price picks or something. I don't know why that is. I was winning like thousands and thousands of dollars. I won like $4,000 or $5,000 over the football season last year on prize picks. So I was very surprised how difficult and how much of a pain in the ass it is to actually do parlays in sports books. So it was very shocking. Matt 87 Eagle says, "What's the betting odds for the Olympics?" I don't watch the Olympics. I have no idea about the fighters. So if I don't have a clue about the fights and the fighters or have any familiarity about them, I'm not bothering to watch it, nor am I going to bet on it. So I don't bet on something I don't know anything about. I do follow a guy on boxing. He's called 3D Boxing. His name's Gary. Excellent dude, fun guy, very interactive like me. And he knows the sport of boxing a lot better than I do. And he is very helpful in giving you guys ideas on who to bet on and where to go with those odds. He does recommend doing parlays to help your odds go down. But at the same time, like I said, if you make a mistake with the pick, you're fucked. You automatically lose. It doesn't matter who you picked in your parlays and how many you get right. If you don't get them all correct, you lose. You're putting the odds against yourself. That's just not helpful to you as the bettor. So you got to just find the best odds. My personal opinion, when it comes down to boxing, at least, bet on something that's below a minus 1,000. At least with below a minus 1,000, you're betting like $50. You're guaranteed to at least win, something. I mean, if you go above 50,000, above 1,000, your chances of winning anything is like not much. You're not going to win a whole lot. You're guaranteed a higher chance at winning and retaining the money that you put in, but who the fuck wants to do all that shit? I know I don't. So that's kind of a thing you need to take in consideration. The only way you can bet on something that is like a minus 1,000 or above is you got to have like thousands of dollars to be able to put any money in to win something back. For example, if you're putting in $5,000 and you're betting on something that's like a minus 1,600, you got a good chance at winning like four or 500, not 4 or 500, more along the lines like $200-300, which is fairly decent. The only problem with that is you're putting so much money down just to win a couple of measly $100. But if you feel very confident with the pick, it is all worth doing it because of the fact that your chances when it comes down to boxing, you're going to win a couple of $100. That's not bad. I mean, I've been tempted to want to throw $5,000 down on something like that, but at the same time, you got to take in comes to betting. You can't just throw money around unless you're a very rich person. You can't just throw money and expect to, stay alive and survive in this world. I mean, if you're throwing like $5,000 down every time and you happen to lose here and there, let's say you're even being smart about it and you're throwing $5,000 down, you suffer a loss, you already lost $5,000. Doesn't matter how much you won. You still fucking lost $5,000. You can't do that again. or you're just going to keep losing that 5,000 each time that you put it back in, because eventually you're going to lose at some pick. Some pick's going to fall. So you got to take that into consideration. That's why I don't do that kind of shit. Let's go over my 3 picks for the Terrence Crawford Israel Madrimov fight. There are 3 fights that I'm interested in, and there is one underdog that I will throw out there to you guys that I think is a very good shot at closing. And but I'm not betting on it because I'm not putting so much pressure on myself to win this underdog, because I'm not sure if it's going to close or not. But let's go over the 3 bets I'm going to go ahead and bet on. One is Jared Anderson going up against Martin Piccoli. Martin Piccoli is 20-1. Now, granted, yes, he did suffer a loss. His loss, Martin Piccoli, I'm not betting Martin Piccoli. I'm betting on Jared Anderson. Jared Anderson's 24 years old, while Piccoli is 31. So it does give Jared Anderson somewhat of a better chance at winning this fight. The only concern is going up against a guy that's a little bit more experienced than him. Is he going to be able to close the deal against a guy like Martin Piccoli? That's my concern. I've never watched Martin Piccoli fight before. His loss came from a guy named Michael Hunter back in 2018. So this guy hasn't lost in 6 years. That's a long while. Michael Hunter was he's 23-1 with 2 draws. So that's pretty insane, man. That is insane. I don't think he's in boxing anymore either. I think he's in the whatchamacallit, the MMA. Yeah, he's in Fist of Fury. I think that's a MMA promotion. Oh no, it's still boxing. Huh. All right. Well, I mean, this guy has been this guy's pretty good. I mean, I'd be a little concerned about it. I am. I'm not saying this guy Martin Piccoli doesn't have a shot at winning based on his record, his resume, and who he's beaten. But I think Jared Anderson has got a better shot at winning because of the age difference. I think he's going to be a little bit quicker, better on the feet, and so forth. And I think Anderson is just going to pull out the victory here. Currently, right now, he's on Hard Rock Bet at minus 195. So he's definitely dropping quite a bit. He was actually at a 210 I had him at one point, which is what I betted him on. And he ain't got his odds are going down because of the fact that his performance in his last fight has a factor to play with. And the guy he's facing up against is one of the highest tier fighters he's faced so far in his career. So, I mean, his opponents have been trash. Their records are pretty decent, but this guy is just top level. He's another level that this guy has never faced before. And I think Anderson still will pull this off and get a victory. I mean, again, like I said, do not parlay this shit. It is not worth the risk, not worth the aggravation or the headache of going ahead, putting whatever money you can afford for this weekend, throw it down on a parlay for, let's just say you pick all 6 of these fighters I just threw at you guys, and then just say, okay, I'm going to bet on all this in a parlay on one bet, and one of them doesn't close, you automatically lose. You spread this out, you can win something. You don't walk away with zilch. That's the whole point. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. So that's my biggest learning experience from this shit. So you're not always going to be 100% right on all the picks that you make. So why not just have fun with it? See how well you can do. Dabble a little money in there that you can afford to lose and win a little bit of money back. That's the way I look at it. So that's my attitude on this. And I think that Jared Anderson is definitely a good pick here. And I think he is definitely going to pull out a victory more than likely. Hopefully he will. I really like Jared Anderson. I think he's good. And But this guy, Martin Piccoli, he ain't fucking around, man. He is going to go into this fight and he is going to want to rip Jared Anderson's head off. I was watching the press conference after work and I heard how Martin Piccoli sounded. He is determined to win this fight. He is not going in here lollygagging around playing, I'm just a stepping stone for a young kid to come in and take my spot. He's here to fuck this kid up and take his spot, giving him a higher chance at reaching that title opportunity that he's looking for. And I don't blame him. He's 31 years old. He's getting up there in age. He ain't got a lot of time left. He needs to get this shit done and over with and reach that title opportunity as soon as possible if he wants to win anything at this point. Because it's just so long that shelf life for a guy at 31 is going to last. So I can understand his point of view and why he's taking this shit very seriously. Jared Anderson, he's 24. He's got plenty of time to be able to learn from mistakes if he makes one here in this fight and so forth. So if you even wanted to go with Martin Piccoli, I could totally understand that. I don't see why that would be a big deal. I wouldn't blame you for doing that, but I'm going to go with Jared Anderson. I think he's got the shot at winning this fight, and I think he's going to walk away with the W. Next up, this is the underdog I would definitely pick if I had the extra money to throw down, but I didn't want to take a chance at what the money I had available to me and throw money on it and then end up possibly being wrong, God forbid. But Andy Ruiz Jr. is going up against Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller is 26-1. He's only lost one fight. That was his most recent fight. And the fighter he faced was Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois is getting a title shot opportunity on September 21st against Joshua Parker. Joshua Parker is one of the top-notch heavyweights in boxing at this point in time. The only other guys you could say is above him is actually Tyson Fury and Alid Usyk. So, and those are the two guys that fought each other I think it was around May 15th, May 16th. So yeah, I think losing to Daniel Dubois is nothing to be, down about. And yeah, no. Okay. But anyway, I think that Jarrell Miller is definitely, as an underdog goes in this fight card, I think that Jarrell Miller is actually one of the better picks as an underdog that I would go with in this fight. On Tapology, I actually did pick him to win. So Jarrell Miller, yeah, I definitely would go with him. He's actually a good underdog idea to go with, in my personal opinion. Next up, I would go as a favorite goes Isaac Cruz up against Jose Valenciola. This is for the WBA super lightweight title, and Isaac Cruz I'm going with without a shadow of a doubt. I think Isaac Cruz is definitely a guy that you're going to go ahead, bet on, and win some good money with. He is currently right now, I believe, a minus 450. That's not bad money. I mean, granted, it's still wide when it comes down to the money line portion of things. If you want to go with knockout or decision, go ahead. I don't fuck with that shit. I want to win something back. I'm not going to get greedy and throw down a bunch of money on some fucking possibility of an outcome that may not happen, have the correct fighter, and then be wrong about how the outcome goes. I don't fuck with that shit too often unless I absolutely know for a fact I got a good shot at winning it. But otherwise, yeah, I don't touch that crap. I'm just a money line guy. I keep it simple. I don't make it hard on myself. But yeah, I think that Isaac Cruz is definitely a guy that I would go with. The last guy I'm going to mention is the main event. Terrence Crawford. I'm betting on him simply because the odds, may not be great. He's a minus 900 money line wise. Betting on the decision, he's plus money, I think plus 165, knockout minus 165. So you could, go either way on those if you want. If you wanted to bet both him winning money line wise and also the decision or knockout, by all means, I wouldn't say that would get you in any kind of trouble with a sports book since you are betting the same fighter. Anything wrong with that? Fuck. Yeah, I got to do something about this, man. This is it's saying I'm offline. Check your connection and try again. I don't know what the hell this is or why this happens. All right. Anywho, this shit seems to happen so often with the connection going out and giving me all kinds of problems and it's breaking up and all that shit. So I do apologize. I got to get a new computer at some point. So yeah, I may have to stop doing the live streams until I get that new computer because I don't like the fact that it keeps cutting out on us. Anyway. Yeah, Terrence Crawford, I think, is beating Israel Madrimov. He's Terrence Crawford is plus minus 900, and Madrimov, I believe, is a plus 545. I mean, if you wanted to throw money down on him as being an underdog, I mean, by all means, go ahead. He's an upcomer. He's 10-0 with 7 knockouts. I mean, it's not beating anybody of notable records. I mean, like a guy like Terrence Crawford. He's never faced a guy like Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is top-notch boxer in boxing, man. I mean, you can't say that this guy is going to beat Terrence Crawford unless you have some magic ball that's going to tell you the secrets of the future. But yeah, I don't see Terrence Crawford losing this fight by any means. Will he have, will he be a challenge? Yeah, I think Israel is going to be a challenge for him, but I don't see him as somebody that's going to actually beat him. I mean, he beats him. That's mind-boggling. If you wanted to go the rounds, let me see about the rounds here because rounds are actually a little bit more beneficial. You don't even have to worry about who wins or who loses. You just have to worry how far the fight goes, honestly. So let's say I was to go on Hard Rock Bet, and let's say I was to pick the fight with Terrence Crawford and Madrimov. Madrimov actually is a plus 575 to let you guys know if you guys are interested on the odds on the underdog. So the total rounds would be 10 plus rounds. So the fight would have to at least go to the 11th round for this to work for you guys. So if you're doing the over, you're going to be a minus 10 and under is minus 10 as well. So if you go ahead, have the fight go at least to the 10th round, you win. If it goes to the 11th, you lose. So you got to hope somebody knocks the other out. I mean, if you want to do under, there's a chance that one of them might knock the other out. Who the fuck knows? The last performance Terrence Crawford had, he fought a top-notch guy, Errol Spence. I thought Errol Spence would give him a little bit of a challenge, and Errol Spence got his brains kicked in. He got annihilated. It was fucking sad. I was very shocked by Errol Spence's performance, how he was unable to even compete with Terrence Crawford. He won the first round, and then after that, Errol Spence just got his brains kicked in. So, I mean, he didn't exactly, killed it. Terrence Crawford, though, he fucking showed off in great style and performed at a very high level against a guy I thought was going to give him a challenge of some sort. So maybe Israel will give him that challenge. Maybe not. But I'm going with Terrence Crawford by money line and walking away with the W. I want my fucking money and I want to get the hell out, So that's pretty much it. But anyway, guys, I will be back at 9:15 p.m. So I'm going to take a short break here and I will be here live for WWE SummerSlam 2024 preview and prediction video along with best bets that we will go over for WWE SummerSlam. Where you can find these odds and where you can make these bets is betonline.ag. and I will go over everything on that and go ahead and give you guys my best bets for that SummerSlam event. I already dropped money down on Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, and people are thinking that Gunther might lose and then win it at Berlin. I hope they are wrong. I hope that it's at SummerSlam, because initially I thought his odds were going to go up. They have not. I got him at a minus 700, and he has dropped down to a minus 500. And actually, at one point, he reached minus 1500. So he was totally unbettable. But we'll go over all that stuff and the rest of the entire card, and I'll go over all that with you guys once we get back at 9:15 p.m. today. So I'll speak to you guys in a little while, but at this time, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you like the video, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel, and leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that, guys, and I thank you very much for watching. Have a great night. Bye.